preview of German Bundesliga football weekend, November 1st until November 4th, Monday 2019. And I'm gonna go through quickly the bets. Here you see the bets already. Germany 1, Germany 2. Of course you can pause the video or you wait until I explain the bets. And I went through all this already in German language, so you may consider me a bit getting tired from this. Of course, I'm excited to, to get my work done and to get the games going tonight and to watch football all weekend. And of course, I'm recording the statistics as well, which I have to do every day. And I'm gonna prepare this and I'm gonna review. Okay, so it's not just relaxing, sitting back and watching it or something like that, but it is always some kind of work. So anyway, I changed the design. You may notice here. And I'm trying, of course, to extract what would be needed to be good. I try to prove that I understand my business, sure, and I'm gonna try to help you, of course, as well, but which may be in some kind of conjunction. Anyway, so in case the bets are going okay, which I wouldn't predict by any means. I can just do the calculation afterwards and we can look at the results. Of course, I'm trying to get decent bets, which I try to evaluate by not just when I watch it and I say to myself, okay, I got the right side, let's get the goals. Oh, they lost. Oh, that's sad. Oh, but I was on the right side. But I'm analyzing this in depth in statistics. And for example, to get that going and to prepare this, you may have seen the review from last weekend's football. And there I showed you already how not how, but that I compiled all those. Why can't I select this now? No idea, really. But did I select it? Can't be so sure. Anyway, as you may have noted, that I compared those predictions with the real stats that we had, and I'm posting I'm publishing here the stats I'm expecting already on Friday. So at least you can't blame me afterwards when you get those values very similar. Then you say, oh, that's a genius. But maybe I entered the values afterwards. We had some deviations and some heavy deviations. But anyway, now you can check it here. This is the calculation that my computer does on basis of the settings and on basis of current and running results, or rather statistics. If you see the conversion rate here, the conversion rate does tell you how well they did, the one side did take their chances, how well the other side defended, so to say, opponent's chances, so how many did they concede when opponent did have its opportunities, and so on. And those values are put into into one formula more or less, and then I work out these conversion rates. So Hannover's conversion rate is expected to be worse than Sandhausen's here. We have the phenomena anyway that the away sides find it easier to score these days, which is a consequence of what I consider is of the size of the chances. Because as soon as you have a chance on the break, which you may just imagine this one situation, one side has a corner coming from some pressure, the central defenders, center backs step up, so because they want to score a goal, the ball is defended. Now they the other half is open more or less, and they instantly swarm out, or I don't know how you call that, but instantly a couple of players move up quickly, and then they find lots of spaces, and that makes it easier to score. And that may be partly reflected here, also in the game approach or something like that. But we will see different values in other cases. But here we see already that Hanover, I just have a development of efforts here. It's just the efforts. I may enter some more values here, but it may get confusing as well. They both play better than average, because average is 1.33. That's somewhere in between here. But they both are better than average, but Sandhausen, which are in light red or whatever that is, are better than Hanover. And of course, market would not suspect this. And already the old system, rather based on results, makes it a smaller edge to Hanover. But the new system insists more or less that Sandhausen are the right side. So we got the first bet, more or less. I'm going to go through these quickly here. In Regensburg, Osnabrück, we do have, nothing on the sides. What do we see here? Osnabrück even played a bit better than, they are both pretty bad, because that's a line of 1.2. We need average is 1.3, so it would be up here. They are below average, which is fine, but even Osnabrück are the better side, although they are clearly worse in table. The computer still says, the old system says, taking rather the results in, the new system has about the same edge here for the home side, or even a bigger one. Okay, I'm not sure where this comes from. Anyway, there's nothing indicated. No, old system would even like Osnabrück, new one disagrees, so we are not going to take anything. What we do have indicated here is an under. The old system already is very low on goals, and the new system confirms the under by being a bit higher, but still underneath, below the true value. So we do have an under here. I mean, I could show you different stats, of course, to verify that, but I can't get everything into one. Maybe I can, but it may also start to be confusing. This is also the over-under more often are just technical bets. I mean, just to show you how much work I'm investing here, maybe I could show you this file. Where is it? Okay, sorry. So we did see a lot of other files here popping up, which was not my intention, but maybe we go just to do it once and show you. And also show you some different. Okay, so I didn't update these because I usually did this for you, but now I changed this. But you see here, this is the goal performance, and this is very red. That's minus 9.42 goals. So it means there had been very few goals in their games. So that's one example. I have the goal sums here. I don't think I can resize that, but I can read it to you. It's 2.56 goals. That's more or less this value here, 1.48 plus 1, or it is exactly this value. Then we got new system 2.78, which even agrees, or that would be 2.79, that's rounding errors. And naive fallacy makes it 2.40. That's just putting all goals into one basket and divided by the number of games. That's 2.4. So all figures are on under, plus the performance, which is just the last 8 games from both teams. Makes it even more an under. So and anyway, whenever this is indicated, I'm gonna check that, and sometimes I still go for the bet even if it's not fully verified, because I trust my computer. But also here, as you see, that one is fully verified, and I don't know where this over comes from, that the market makes it, but I can't see an over, but rather an under. In St. Pauli Karlsruhe, we do have nothing but an over indicated. It is, which is the better team? That's recently it had even been, or no, actually all the time, it had been Karlsruhe, because St. Pauli was not so good. Karlsruhe were also not so great, but they had been approaching average 1.29, yeah, that's close to average, while while St. Pauli are a bit worse. This you may not find confirmed by when you watch the teams playing, but what is this here? Ah, okay. No, this is why I couldn't select those because this was still up here. Okay. Anyway, um, um, it is not fully confirmed, or it would be close to Karlsruhe more or less, but the new system would not quite like it. Although it also sees a small edge to. It sometimes depends on home away. I could also show you this, but I'm going with the figures, and I hope you agree that we rather stick to that. And mm, I mean, we got the true prices if you want. So you still have the traditional market with 1x2. You can always compare that. So check out your bookmaker's prices, or where you can bet or take an odds comparison site or whatever you want to. I mean, you can check here if any of these figures, if you get a better value than what is shown here. But the new system would not fully agree because it would find a bigger edge to St. Pauli. So we can completely forget about Karlsruhe as a bet. And as soon as I have this kind of contradiction, I wouldn't even start thinking about it. So forget about this one. What we do have is an over. I mean, we have plenty of goals that the new system finds, and we also have sufficient amount of goals that the old system finds. So why would we hesitate? I mean, it's just an indicated over. I could check that, of course. We could have in mind or keep in mind the table, which sometimes tells you. But usually all the games are the same kind. They both would prefer not to lose, but as soon as the chance is there, so either one could go up or down at this stage of the season for sure. You could check that, of course, here in this table, for example, which is not the table I meant, which would be here. But you could always, they are in the middle of the field, but you see 6 points up here, 5 down there. So anything can happen, but they wouldn't be worried for St. Pauli. It's more or less the same. I mean, easily 2 wins or so, they move up here, or 2 losses, they find themselves back down here. So a lot can happen. So they would prefer not to lose. But as long as they approach the game the way they approach any other game, I wouldn't be worried about this over indication. I mean, you could say this game special, something like that, but where would you find that? In our Heidenheim, we actually have an indication. Mm. Of course, this one is based more or less on the table being clearly in favor of, no, not clearly, they are 2 points better. On goal difference, it's even Heidenheim better, right? +3 against +1. So, which one tells us more? We can check that here in the efforts development or whatever that would translate into. That's how well they played. And actually, I was not quite happy with Heidenheim because I rated them well and they didn't confirm that really early on. But then they slowly but surely they just improved. 1.43. That's better than average, and that's very okay. I mean, who's better than average? Actually, no one, but except these top 3 there. But okay, if we find one, we can say, okay, that means something. And our are actually below average. So if the old system still finds a small edge even to our, that's some respect to them. The new system doesn't, because it says I am rather based it on efforts a lot more. The conversion rate is clearly in favor of ours still, because they just made the most of their chances, which you can see in the table. But that adjusts a bit here, but it's still not enough of an adjustment to make them favorites, which this side thinks. But even then, it would still be indicated. So why would we be worried about going with Heidenheim plus a quarter of a goal, even if the price is low? But actually, it should be a draw no bet line. And we have an over indication here. Why would this be? I mean, well, we can always do this kind of naive fallacy. It would tell us 35 and 29 at 64 goals. Divide this by 22. It's close to 3 goals. that would already be sufficient to beat the line of 2.75 goals. And you can also say, I mean, look at the table. Who would worry about what? I mean, they can shoot the bull. What, shoot the bull? I don't know. I mean, grab the stars with a win, maybe, and win promotion, or they just are in no worries. So reach out for the stars. What would you say? I don't know. So they are in no trouble. So there's no point in defending too much. But anyone would do that. So but on the same level, right? I mean, there's nothing special about this game, especially nothing that speaks for an under more than any other one. Rather the opposite. That's why we go for over. Or it's indicated, and there's no counter indication if you want so. In Fürth Darmstadt, it's a bit different. Not in the sense of the side, we can just talk about this, but there is a small different. There is an indication in favor of Darmstadt and an under. Of course, we can check that here, and we can look here. Darmstadt, they should have had 12.58 points, while Fürth should have had 14.83. So Fürth are actually doing okay and are doing better. Okay, that one's so much for that, let's say. Still, it was the development of Darmstadt that I somehow liked, right? They were, I mean, there was very low start and very slow start, and I was fully against them. But then, I mean, game by game, they improved. If they are on 1.14, it may still look awful, but as those 12.83, but I would say, well, improvement. And look at this one, that went down constantly, right? So you can say, well, there is a certain point in taking the side in shape. It is not really looking at the results, but rather on the way they played. And this I liked about Darmstadt. And if I say so, I'm as I said, I'm watching the games and I'm entering the stats, and I don't need. Well, if I get this confirmed by stats, then sometimes I may even tend to say, yeah, that's what I saw, or so, right? If I see decent stats and yeah, that was right what I saw. So sometimes you may get, you even tend to confirm, although you didn't really notice it. But in this case, I have to say I saw that when I saw Darmstadt playing, and I liked them somehow. And we had this quite often now. We had this Heidenheim also, and I said, well, when I started early on, it was never any really good, and then they improved. And this is what I would say about Darmstadt. But it's not that they knock me off the feet, or that I say, okay, they're gonna, challenge promotion or anything. It's just that they are better than the results. Okay. It's just indicated, barely indicated, and I would say, okay, then we can agree on this one, okay? And so we've got another one, and we have the under indicated. I'm as I said, we can always do this naive fallacy by just putting all of, and if you take 25 plus 24, that's 49 divided by 22. That's just 2.2 goals per game. So that would be easily confirmed. So if it's indicated, there's no counter indication. So why wouldn't we? And here you could argue, I mean, if you want to look for something else, I mean, here you could argue, well, at least from Darmstadt's point of view, okay, I mean, it's all the same. I mean, they all can get into trouble, and they all could also win higher glories with some fine wins together. But anyway, it's not a tight battle as I may have predicted. But if you listen to the names, then you would say, that sounds a bit more like an under. But forget about it. We go for stats and we trust them. In Bielefeld-Kiel, we have this silly situation that we have to support Kiel now. I mean, if you look at this chart, that would answer all the questions already. I mean, I'm saying that from the start, Kiel are just impressing me. I wouldn't, never would have believed that they keep up that high standard they played at last season. But now I have to accept that. And they sacked the coach, which was silly, I consider. But they didn't change their level at all. They just played on this very high level. They didn't get the results. Okay, fine. But actually they did. They won 3 from the last 4 games. So that's pretty decent. And anyway, they play on the same level. So how would anyone on earth justify half a goal, although the old system based on results would even somehow agree on these 0.5 goals? The price would still be good enough. But the new system says, well, they are a lot closer, which is, I mean, 0.17 goals closer, okay, but it is already massive if you want so, right? We have to make sure we understand that we are just arguing in all kind of small, very small nuances. And also in percent level, right? If you have 3% on your side extra, okay, I mean, but 3%, you wouldn't note it, and you wouldn't. I mean, if you play roulette and you had an advantage of 3%, like the bank has the other way around, that would make sure you're gonna win. If you wait for 2 days, 3 days, and place bets on every, maybe then you notice it, right? But you wouldn't see it in one single game. But we are doing many bets anyway, so of course then it does matter. But if you say, well, this was a bad bet and I lost it, okay, well, it happens as well. Here we have to go with Kiel. I was arguing Bielefeld are very, very excellent, and really I can't say anything against them at all. And they even have a small edge here now of 0.03 points per game. But it's not enough to justify this half goal line actually. And we are happy with away sides whenever they are indicated. The computer does its small adjustments. If market does not agree, or it says we have the regular home advantage no matter what the results say. I mean, I can only prove by results that I'm right. But well, at the moment I wouldn't complain. But at the moment I can say one thing for sure: if an away side is indicated, I'm usually happy. If whether or not it's indicated more often, I'm not predicting that. If it happens, it happens, and then I'm happy with the bet. Here we can see easily that Dresden really, really lost their shape. They had this 2-3 very good game, or 3-3 and penalties against Hertha in Cup, which still they were pretty lucky there to even get this far. But okay, it happens, and it may give them a boost. But here's what I said, and what I could also, I mean, visibly, they were just, well, they were no good. I mean, they did have possession. That's all you could see. They did have possession, Dresden, but they wouldn't get into the danger zone, right? And they wouldn't trouble the goal, really. And that's what you see here. That's what happened. And that was really, really, I mean, 1.26 is still, right? You shouldn't forget it. This is just fair enough compared to average or whatever. I mean, they are below average, but not by that much. But still, it's a bad tendency, of course. But and the Wednesday result and so on. Stuttgart actually proved what I said on Monday. They won in Cup in Hamburg after 1-1, 2-1 after extra time. But they proved what I said. It was an under, actually, maybe on Sunday as well, or it wasn't, but 6-2, of course. But I said by figures it was an under, actually, before and after. With including the stats that happened, that occurred. But also Stuttgart, so it was an under the next game they played, because it was 1-1. And also Stuttgart didn't lose. So in both senses, I was proven right. And it was 2 days after they played the first time. Or maybe it was 3 days. I don't know if they played on Saturday or Sunday. To be honest. Here's no indication. So what can we do? Not even argue about it. In Kiel, actually, we did have an under as well, which is just owed to the heavy line of 3.25 goals. You can check that as well. It didn't happen, these many goals. I mean, we can check it, okay. I have to do it in my head. That's 34 goals, and that's 28. So that's 62 divided by 11 times 2 divided by 22. So that's 2.7 or something like that. And it's not 3, and not 3.25, even more. So it is an under. I don't know where this heavy line comes from, but I don't know. They played 4 unders in a row, I think, Bielefeld. And so on. So where are all those goals that market suspects coming from? In Stuttgart, Dresden, we do not even have this. We are just happy with Market and Lion, and Market didn't change its mind so much about Stuttgart, which is fairly okay. You just say they are good, and then I can agree. Here we do have an indication on Wien. Okay, I'm going to argue. I mean, here you see that the efforts did go down, but if you look at this, that's 1.77, that's 1.98. So they were excellent. So you had to expect them to go down. That's 1.17. That's just a regular number. It is bad, but it's not terrible. It's not bottom, or it's, well, they are like many others, and they may be the worst, but it's not far away from the others. And with Hamburg, they do not exaggerate really, but 1.74. It's not Bayern Munich by all means. I mean, it's far away, and 1.74, that is top, but it's not so far away from the others. Um, I can do the calculation about the goals in many ways, but if you see that the goals they should have scored, that's not the ones they scored. That's 28-10. Okay, that's heavy, but they should have scored 19.13, which is close to the ones I expected. It's maybe a bit better. Okay, they should have conceded 12.66. They did concede only 10. Okay, remember Stuttgart even scored a goal, which was disallowed afterwards for silly reasons, 4-3. But then there would be one more. I mean, if you have these easy, stack it up here, and so on. That's okay. Let's even make it a difference of +7, and they played a difference of -5. Let's do it like this, right? Not the one they played, or they got back from fate, but the one they played at, that maybe -5. So that would be 12 goals between them. Fine, right? 7 + 5, that's 12. If you divide it by the number of games, it would be 1.1, also fine. If you have 1.1 and you still have a home advantage of 0.17, that's about the as many goals the home side scored more than away. That's 0.17 per game. You take that off because Wien are at home, so you get 0.93. That's the maximum, and that is close to. Okay, here it's a bit less even, but 0.78. Okay, and 0. What did I say? 0.93. But I was going to limits with the other one. But still, it would never be the line. What is the market's line actually? Oh, that's just plus 0.75. Well, we have a decent price. Well, so we are close enough. Anyway, it is indicated. I mean, I can't do much about that because price is very good, 2.075. That's what I wrote down here. You have to check that, of course. Anyway, I'm through with that. Wien are indicated, nothing on the goal lines. We can't do much. In Bochum, we just have an indication on the over. You can check that easily. I mean, look at that. And Bochum's home results even more. But here we got 44 goals already. That's 4 per game. Here we got 38. I mean, you don't need to do much of calculation, right? 38, 44. That's 82 divided by 11. By 22. But you get to 3.6 or 3.7 or whatever. And I don't know why market is so conservative with that. I mean, I like that in some sense, but if it's confirmed here in all respects, I mean, also with this with the new system even more, then I wouldn't know why I have to start with the doubting, right? So we got an over here. Okay, thank you. I mean, I'm through with this league, or I'm gonna recap. Let's say the bets quickly, and if you still have that in mind, where are we here? What have I done here? Oh, I'm sorry. We had Sandhausen at Hanover, was well confirmed by the graph of how well they played. We had Heidenheim, which are not the dogs in our. Maybe even, but okay, we get a +0.25. In Darmstadt, that was barely indicated, so it's an optional one, so you can take it 1 unit or you cancel it because you don't like it in Fürth. But I find the development pretty, and I like the way they play. Kiel, we have a forced indication more or less because they are no worse than Bielefeld, which sounds silly, but that's what the stats would say. We are an under here, not much arguing. We had an over in St. Pauli, Karlsruhe. I'm quite happy if over and under are indicated quite balanced, because then I say, okay, my figures are not in any direction wrong. It's just a bit more sensible. it's more sensible for the developments, which says, okay, there had been more chances and more like that, so it's gonna care for that. But it's also sensible for the home and away, which market usually doesn't care for. Whether or not I'm right, I have to prove with the results once again. But as long as we're doing fine. But if you look at that, then you see Bochum at home 3-3, 3-3, 2-2, 2-2, 3-3. So where would you hesitate now and say, okay, the next one is going to be 0-0? I can see that. I can smell that. I don't know where you would smell that from. Or that's because we are all like the equilibrium. I don't know where that would come from, right? We have an under here because the line is just too heavy. We have an under here, which is on the lowest line. We still have an under, but that was the one with the 2.2 goals. So I mean, market also sensible for that, but computer even a bit more. How else can I explain that, right? And Bochum, we had the over. I'm gonna give you the Germany 1. Where do we have that? We have that here. And that's the last game, and I have to scroll up here. We have Hoffenheim, Paderborn. I have to compress, or what is it? Shorten it a bit more. Paderborn clearly indicated. Efforts are just fine. No one would say that. 1 point. Okay, sorry. They are even better than, because Paderborn are the red ones. They even played better than Hoffenheim. We have in mind or memory very much the very good efforts by Paderborn in Leverkusen first game, in Berlin when they were even the better side, and against Bayern, and they always lost by 1 goal, which was pretty unlucky. Midweek they lost 0-1 in Leverkusen, and which was also a close game, you can say. I mean, 1 goal, they lost 2-3 once, and now 0-1. So they are always within range. So they are a bit unlucky. But they won the last game against Düsseldorf. So maybe that's the fate that Wien had in the Bundesliga 2, who started off with 1 point in 7 games, I think. But then they started with a win, 2-0. That was the same win that Paderborn had over Düsseldorf. Wien beat Osnabrück. And then Paderborn, Wien won in Stuttgart. So that would be, I mean, I'm not superstitious or believing in anything. But at least Paderborn did get off the marks, more or less, opened the account and wins, and so on. So maybe they got, and market exaggerating clearly with Hoffenheim now after 3 wins, which were all by 1 goal, I think. But they were all, no, 2-0, they beat Schalke, but everyone could see that Schalke outplayed them. So, I mean, why would you, they scored 2 goals, okay? They were doing fine because they didn't play badly, but Schalke were clearly better. And you can see that here. I mean, if you have the better side and you get plus 1.25 goals to the goods, then you could say, well, there's lots of space for errors, right? Why would you have to move this and this to make it a bad bet? And even computer says here quite an edge to Hoffenheim based on results because they were better. And but the new system says there's clearly less. We have an under indication there as well. I'm going to argue that Paderborn, like the Wien fate, and we have a line of 3.5 goals. They started to understand that you can only win games if you defend well. And they've done the same thing. 2-0 Düsseldorf tells the story, although they were a bit lucky there. And midweek 0-1 Leverkusen confirms. And Hoffenheim did have some goals, but they are actually even more of an underside. But 3.5 is clearly too heavy. We have an indication here on Werder, which cannot fully be confirmed. Oh, you have to apologize for this these lines going down here, because I have taken this from Bundesliga 2, and they played 2 more games. So that's somehow it's thinking there's 0-0 for either side in the game 10 and 11, and I didn't adjust these charts. We only have to focus on until match day 9 here. That's the efforts that count. The other games had not been played yet until here, so I was taking that off anyway. So we have to check that last value here, right? Not those. And okay, and here I have to admit that Werder are indicated, and I wrote it down. I'm not going to take it back, and I can well imagine that Freiburg are coming down from their Höhenflug. What do you say in English? I heard that word, but that expression. But anyway, they are high flyers, yeah, flying high, and Werder are playing okay, of course, but not fully confirmed here. But they drew all these four last games when they one or two goals they were behind against top sides like Frankfurt, Leverkusen, and so on, and Dortmund even. And so they have done pretty okay. And we have an indication on the over here. I'm not going to argue a lot about it. It sounds like an over. It is indicated, so why would I worry? I mean, Freiburg are in no trouble. Werder play forward anyway, for sure. In Leverkusen Gladbach, we have no indication on the sides. We can say that the better side are by quite some margin are Leverkusen, but market not getting that really wrong, and no idea why. But we can't do much. They always like Leverkusen line is minus half a goal, so that's just okay with the computer. And as we see here, Leverkusen had been the better side, but the under is indicated because it's a heavy line, and yeah, I'm not gonna double check these, but you see here that's even less goals, and that's already indicated here in 3.25. I mean, you can also fancy, of course, that Gladbach are trying to defend their top seat, top spot in the table, but you know, I shouldn't do that. It's just a bet by figures, more or less, and I see if there are any counter indications, and I can't find them. In Dortmund Wolfsburg, we have quite some contradiction between old and new, and I try to explain that. Dortmund, I'm not certain about the evaluation. It's also Wolfsburg that are confusing me a bit, and then it's doing the computer because the results are very good, the efforts are not so good. But as they come together, we have no indication anyway. But you could say the new system would even like Dortmund. But we are not gonna do that. I'm just quite happy if there's some contradiction because it means to me, you are not certain. I mean, you yourself or your computer is not certain, so rather stay away. And that's, of course, the guideline I'm following. And I can well argue about it because you can see sometimes that Dortmund could be a lot better. They are not getting the goals and they are not getting the results, and then you say, well, something is tearing them back, or I don't know, it's something holding them back. I don't know, but anyway, at any point you can expect the explosion. They score plenty of goals. They won midweek in Cup once again against Gladbach, which was still a lucky win, but their effort was fine. 2-1, they beat them once again. So we're not going to get involved here. In Frankfurt Bayern, we have to get involved. I mean, Frankfurt played really, really, really well, and they are keeping that level throughout. And Bayern are not fully on their expected level. And I could do all the calculation here. I'm not going to do it to prove you how close it should be. We got the 1.71. If you can check the market there, it may be 155. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm just checking the Asian lines. But anyway, even if it were one goal, which the new system disagrees on, even if the old system based on more on results says one goal and market has got 1.25, you can instantly spot that well, the new system even says clearly Frankfurt are closer because the efforts had been so well, while results are not quite on their side. They're not bad, but they are not good enough. But anyway, it's already here because market has 1.25 goals. They are maximum one goal behind. And so it's easily indicated. Nothing on the over-under. And in Leipzig-Mainz, we got that fine win, Leipzig midweek 6-1 in Wolfsburg even. So that was maybe showing which side is really the better one. We can see here the efforts are fine. The results we do not see here, we have them in mind. They are not really playing on this level, or well, they are not quite where they would like to be. You can see that here in the table. Once again, they are in, who are we talking about? Leipzig, they are in 6th place. I mean, Leverkusen are as bad or some as unhappy maybe, but 15 points are still somewhere within reach up here. Nothing terrible happened, but of course, well, anyway, they should have had, no, they didn't play so well either, while Leverkusen, well, they played better, but I expected them to be worse, which is not really the case, as you see here. But anyway, that 6-1 win may have shown what they are capable of, and there's no indication. Maybe new system would very much like Leipzig actually, but I do not agree. That's a very low price or very high probability already, which does not fully suit the well, the efforts we've seen so far, and maybe also not the well, yeah, also about Mainz or the difference between these sides at the moment, right? 1.5 goals, that's pretty heavy, and we do not like these lines anyway. But we can imagine, of course, that new system is better than old one, but old one disagrees anyway, and it's already a very low price. So yeah, well, where's find the error? We're not getting involved. Union against Hertha, that's a very easy indication on the over. And I don't know, market may argue here that it's a derby, and in derbies we do not see any goals. 2.5, that's a very, very, very low line, which is not justified at all. The only thing we have to worry about is this derby so special? I would argue the fans, the supporters, they like each other. I can't see any, you know, any trouble between them. And that makes me positive for the game itself, and also for the, you know, that's not gonna be infight, or, you know, when rather, you know, do not get any hits, and oh, I don't know, whatever, in boxing, or I don't know this sport so well, but anyway, try to hide away. That's what I was trying to show, and I can't foresee that happening here, right? I mean, an infight, that's not what I meant with this comparison. What I would rather would mean would be that they are going to be tackling and fouls and things like that, discussions, and also in the supporters that would somehow favor this mood if it once it started, right? Then they would, well, plenty of interceptions or things. But I can't foresee that, so that would be the reason. But I can promise to you that my evaluation of derbies, it's not going so well. So whatever that happens, there's always something special, which obviously I do not spot, but we will see on Saturday night. It's the night game, or the late evening, evening game. And then we have Düsseldorf-Köln. So the over was indicated, I was explaining that. In Düsseldorf-Köln, we can see here that Düsseldorf had been no worse, rather the opposite. They even had better, and they were better, and they improved. So that's rather what I would base this upon. Even still, the old system does not see much of an edge. The new one sees a bit more, because that's more based on the efforts, which are fine. But I would be happy already with this, or just call it an even game. I mean, I'm happy. It's an even game, but we get draw no bet over 2. And I liked Düsseldorf, the way they played. So what can I say? I mean, we're just happy with it. We have to go with that and trust that. And also indicated, by the way, is the under, which is not such an obvious one, because we got 3.12. That's only the true price, and line is 3, so that looks very regular. But still, it's just indicated, and here we could say, well, it's also a derby. I don't know. It's just indicated. I wrote it down. I'm not going to argue too much afterwards. I showed you how I work out the figures, and how well, how good I am, or well, how trustful the computer may be in general. We got here. We got some contradiction on the goals themselves, because old system says clearly less than the new one. So nothing on the goals. We can't resolve that. I could explain it, but we can't resolve it with a bet or something like that, or just say this one's wrong and this one's right. We can't get involved. What we can say here, Schalke played very well. They improved. Everything's fine. I mean, they didn't fully win the points. 1.43. It's not that massively above average, but it's still it's fine. I mean, they are just a lot better than they were. Augsburg are very low with the 0.86. Forget about these two, but we end up here. But that's very low. That is worse. But they also had some good opponents. They didn't look so terrible, to be honest. But it just doesn't turn out to be a bet. I can only say market likes Schalke at the moment, so that's why it's making this huge edge, or dislikes Augsburg. I don't know. We just agree. So what can we do if we agree? I can't beat that. I can say, okay, I like Schalke, but why would I bet it then? Because the price has to fit. Our market, we have to find something that market could get distracted by, or we could get something wrong. Anyway, I'm through with that, and I hope I've satisfied your needs, or you're happy with what you got. I can see that the views are not so many in the English language, of the English speaking. So I wonder how I could spread it there a bit better, because of course in English language you could reach a lot more people. Of course I'm talking about German football, that's why maybe. So I should take the Premier League, which I couldn't do. I can't do them all in that depth. Anyway, so thank you for watching, and leave your comments, likes, and share it, or subscribe please to my channel. It's free, as you all know.